Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video on the One Hotspur YouTube channel. I'm Toby from _Spurs Center, and today I'm joined by Samuel from THFC National and Charlie from CV Design. How you guys doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All right. And today we're going to be reviewing if and when Jose Mourinho should be sacked following our exit from the Europa League and just a general poor season. So let's jump right into it. Should Mourinho be sacked? Yes or no? Samuel, we'll start with you.
Well, if you obviously follow my page and you look at it quite a lot, then you'll see that I've always been Mourinho in since the day I saw him wearing the shirt and signing the papers. So I'm still Mourinho in.
Wow.
And like I've been saying, I don't think he was at fault for the Zagreb match. He put out a team of players that he wanted to win the game. And in all fairness, they're totally capable and should have won the game. But in the end, it just wasn't good enough. You know, the players let him down, and they're players that you would have expected to get the job done. But apart from Højbjerg, you know, it looked like that was a pretty decent team. So I'm still a bit disappointed about the result, and especially the way that we lost it. But you know, I'm still Mourinho in, but perhaps come the end of the season, if you know we're doing horribly down without being in the top four, and you know, if we get thrashed, you know, I'm expecting a loss in the Carabao Cup, but if we get thrashed in the Carabao Cup, then I could really see that being the end of the Mourinho era, which I would have hoped would have lasted longer, but it hasn't.
Yeah, I think just a lot of people are saying Mourinho out, and I think I am Mourinho out at this point. I mean, it's just demoralizing to lose 3-0 to Dynamo Zagreb. And you're right, though. At the end of the day, the lineup he put out is a better team with more talent than the lineup that Dynamo Zagreb played. I mean, and it wasn't even that they outshone us in terms of talent or quality or anything like that. It was just the supreme lack of effort from the players. And it reminded me, to be honest, of the end of the Poch era, when the players just, you could see they had stopped playing for Mauricio. And at the end of the day, if we sack Mourinho and we bring in someone new like Nagelsmann, we'll talk about managers we can bring in later. But if we bring in someone else, nothing's going to change other than new manager with different tactics. But by the end of the day, probably by the end of next season, we'll be in the same scenario where the players have stopped playing. So we really need Daniel Levy and the board to take some responsibility and go out in the transfer market and sell the deadweight. So the players that aren't playing for the badge, and then bring in a new manager and just fully revitalize the team. I mean, we need that painful rebuild that Pochettino was talking about. But
I'm seriously concerned that in the space of one defeat to Arsenal, we haven't picked up our form and we haven't tried to recover for that. But instead, we've just thrown away the lead, and it almost seems like we've given up now, and that's the end of the era. But I don't think it is. But that seems to be certainly the way that the fans are treating it. So I'm disappointed, obviously, and I haven't got over it yet. But you know, this is a result that will stay in the history of this football club forever, and not in a good way, in a very negative way. And it will take a lot to rebuild from here, I reckon.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's going to take a lot to rebuild. But I mean, for Jose to save his job, a lot of reports have come out saying that we need to qualify for the top four. And I mean, I understand why. I mean, we need to get back into the Champions League. And for Mourinho, I mean, we aren't too far off. We are pretty far off. But I mean, it wouldn't be the biggest surprise in the world. I mean, if Mourinho can just find 13 or maybe 14 players that will play for him, we could get back in the top four. I mean, we are currently 6 points off with a game in hand on fourth place.
If that doesn't motivate a load of players, then I don't know what does, because that is doable. I could do that. Well, maybe not, I mean, but you know, you get the idea. It's not an impossible mountain to climb, because every team will drop points, and that's us included. But we need to drop points.
So talk about. Had my ups and downs with Jose, and I really don't blame him for the Dinamo game, because I mean the players do not back him. It's so visible. And you know, if you saw the Joe Hart incident, where after the game, he posted on his story, "Job done," and he blamed it on his whatever,
His media team.
yeah, his media team. But I don't, maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe that. Maybe he did it because he wants Jose sacked, and he said, "Job done."
No. Sorry.
No,
I mean, how does a
If it
media
wasn't
team
for
do that? How
Mourinho-
does a media
Okay,
team do
'cause
that?
I'm assuming
Mourinho
his.
trusts him and he trusts Mourinho. So
Yeah.
there's definitely
mean-
nothing but love between the two bosses, and the relationship isn't bad, I don't think.
I got two
yeah.
things to say on that. We'll get back to you, Charles. I think number one, his media team probably doesn't watch a whole lot of football.
Yes.
And so they just assumed Spurs were going to win. They didn't actually watch the game, and then they saw the result 3-0. Oh, they must have won. And then, after every single game we win, Joe Hart posts "job done" on his story. So, it's a recipe. And obviously the media team hadn't watched the game. And then the other thing to consider is without Mourinho, Joe Hart wouldn't be at Spurs. He wouldn't be playing.
Good point.
I can't
think-
see Pochettino bringing
But,
him in, and I couldn't see Nagelsmann bringing him in either.
But
Gazaniga would still be
was I,
our second choice.
What I was going to say is, some people blame it on his team selection or whatever, but that is one of the worst performances in the club's history. Like, I still think the Brighton one where we literally couldn't string a pass was worse, but this one against Dinamo, all of them were pretty good goals, but the defending, and not just the defending, like everyone was bad, and even in the likes of Ndombele, and Kane had a few shots, but missed a lot of chances. There was not a single player on that pitch that I'd say was decent. Maybe Aurier, but
I didn't rate Aurier. I thought Lo Celso was the only one who tried.
Yeah.
Lo
Celso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lo Celso. I'd say Lo Celso and actually Bergwijn. I thought Bergwijn played pretty well.
But
I think it's kind of ironic that our best two players, in my opinion at least, were Lo Celso, who's been out for 3 months with an injury, and Bergwijn, who's been getting no playing time. Like, how do the rest of the squad drop so far that our best two players are the players who have played the least?
And it's not just that. Lo Celso and Bergwijn weren't even that good. They were just average. They were actually playing football,
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously shambolic performance. And I'm pretty used to being disappointed, but that was just really bad. But yeah, I just think that it was the players, not Jose obviously has to take a bit of the blame, as any manager does. But like, people saying that he intended to play like that and wanted to part the bus. Literally in the press conference before the game, he said that we'll attack and that he wants us to win. But
He put attacking players out.
But
yeah,
as much as I want to be Jose in, I'm not, because clearly the players aren't playing for him. And no matter how many, because we can't clear out the whole squad in one summer. Maybe we'll sell like 3 or 4 of these deadwood players, but there'll still be a few. And clearly, except for Kane, not many really trust him. I think Lo Celso might trust him because, I don't know, and maybe in Ndombele, but except for them, I can't
Højbjerg.
really
not
see
even in
anyone.
Ndombele.
Yeah, Højbjerg as well. But it's just these players like Dyer and Ali, definitely Ali, maybe even Bale. These kind of players, they definitely do not trust him. I don't want us to buy Bale. I do not want to buy Bale.
You don't?
No, he'll never get back to. But
And
I know he had 2
31.
great games, all right, but I just think he's not what we need right now.
Yeah,
and he's not what we need right now. It's too much for the wage. We really need to clear out pretty much the whole squad this summer, and try to rebuild.
One player who we could bring in, bizarrely enough, is Rafinha from Leeds, because bizarrely enough, Leeds aren't going to get European, I don't think. So that probably means, we could lure him in, because I don't think we'll finish out of the top 7. As disappointing as it would be if we didn't. I think
no, but can I be honest? I'd rather us not get Europa than get Europa. I'd rather us not be in anything than get Europa League.
Because that's what Chelsea did, and it proved.
No. But listen, Europa League is an utter waste of time unless you get to the final. Just hear me out. Arsenal's been in it for years, and they haven't won it. They haven't got anything out of it. It's just a huge game schedule, and it gets your players tired. You need a huge squad depth for that, and it's cost us a few games in the Prem this season. Just look at where we are in the Prem, and we just shockingly got knocked out, and now pretty much our season's over unless we have a huge comeback in the Prem. And it's just, yes, you can get the Champions League from it, but Man U won it. Man U won it, and they haven't won anything since. It hasn't really helped them that much as a club. I just don't think that it's that important, Europa League. And Jurgen Klopp mentioned this. He said that he'd rather, that he wouldn't mind not finishing in Europe because then they can focus on the Prem. I think we should do that next year. Focus on finishing top 4 next year.
That's an interesting
depending
opinion.
on the summer transfer window as well. But
Yeah.
I just think imagine if we finish 7th or 6th or 5th or something like. I don't want to be in the Europa again. Going for all that. It's just not. It's just not the most inspiring competition.
The thing that hurts is that the Europa League seems to be the only chance our club has of getting Champions League football, which, for a club that was easily getting top 4, finishing 3rd and, even 2nd in a title battle, that it just shows how far downwards we've gone. And
no, I just think the Champions League final, I've been saying this for a while, it must have done something to, because yes, Sanchez has recovered a bit, but all these players we call them Deadwood now. Yes, Dyer, Davis, Winks, Sissoko, they've never been amazing, but these are the same players that helped us get to the Champions League final.
Even Danny Rose, he's not even.
And the fact that they've downgraded so much, because I don't blame Jose and Poch for not selling them immediately, because these are the same players that got us to the final. So it'd be disloyal to just sell them. But I don't know, something's happened to them, either mentality or maybe that was just a lucky season, one off. I don't know. But it's not been the same since.
If you go back and look at it, our only good result in the knockout rounds was both results against Dortmund and the first game against Man City. And then you go and the second result against Man City, we would have been knocked out if Sterling's toe was a centimeter further back, or maybe even a millimeter further back.
If Llorente's thing was handball.
I still haven't made my decision up, whether that's handball or whether it's gone in off of his thigh. But
and then even if you look at our season, we seriously declined in the second half of that season. I think the Champions League run kind of papered over the cracks of that. But we're getting a little off topic. We're coming back to Mourinho. I feel like a big part of the blame has to go on the players. But equal part of the blame has to go to Jose. Part of the manager's job is to motivate the players for these games. And
I have to blame the motivation, definitely.
I think at the end of the day, unless we seriously start losing games in the Premier League, I think maybe we just have to give him to the end of the season and see if he can prove it, and see if he can prove why he's one of the best managers in the world. This group of players, because like I said earlier, we are only 6 points off the top 4 with a game in hand. So if we beat Aston Villa tomorrow, we go 3 points off the top 4 with 9 games still to play. Yeah, 9 games still to play.
But it's very interesting. Oh, you go. You talk.
Right, thank you. There's 2 things that I'm disappointed about here. One, we was in a title battle around Christmas time. I think the 2 Liverpool results have ruined our team. Obviously one was very embarrassing to lose 3-1, but the other one I thought was the better team, and we lost due to a lucky corner or whatever you want to call it. But the one thing I'm disappointed about, firstly, is how we've gone so far downwards in the course of a few months, and the second thing is it's just how Man United have managed to pull off so much form, and from 6-1 against us, it now looks impossible to catch them. What's happened? They haven't been superb. They've drawn to Crystal Palace. They've drawn to all these other teams. That's not superb. What's happened is we've been really poor. So, we haven't been really poor, but
I wouldn't say that. You say that we've gone down, that we've really gone down as a club since we were top. But I just think, as I said before, there has been zero improvement since Jose's arrival.
Definitely.
And it's not that. It's just I feel like that those first 10, 12 games of the season, I wouldn't call them luck. It's just we were in good form and.
We're motivated.
Yes, some of them were great performances, but you could see the holes in our team. You could still, even then, you could see that the defense was a problem. You know, we kept a few clean sheets. I think our Spurs fans just got way too confident.
Yeah.
And
I think, honestly, our season has been defined by the form of Eric Dyer. At the beginning of the season, he was
yeah, that's a
in
good point.
world-class form.
I was going to
and
say
we were
that.
a world-class team. I mean, we were top of the table. And then he dropped in form, and then he gave up goals. We had to take him out of the team. Sanchez came in. Alderweireld been making mistakes. Sanchez has been making mistakes. And now we're dropping down the table. I mean, if you don't have an informed center back, you can't push for titles. You can't push for top four. And it's just not going to happen. I mean, we seriously need a center back who's reliable and consistent and can go a whole season in form. I mean, obviously have an off game here and there, but
I'm baffled at how Tanganga isn't making this team because, you know,
I
you look
completely
at
agree
him
with
in
that.
big games
Yeah,
against City and against Liverpool. You know, they're probably the two biggest
He's
games
looked pretty
he's
solid,
played in.
you know.
And he's been so good. He's been consistent, and he's
He doesn't make
definitely
many
our best
mistakes.
centre back.
That's one thing about Tanganga. He doesn't make he can have a really good performance or average performance, but he never really makes mistakes. And that's one thing really that I like about him. He's consistent, he's solid, he's strong, he's quick. So he's got everything that you want
And
in
he
centre back
cares.
/ right
He's a
back.
player.
And yeah, he's one of our own. But also what I wanted to mention is maybe I think we should just do if you're Jose in or Jose out. What about Enoch and Levy in, or Enoch and Levy out? Because I wanted to read this.
Mourinho
1
can
second.
do nothing unless he's backed. We've seen that at all the other clubs.
It's true, and same with Poch. But what I wanted to read here, it's from Tottenham Hotspur Football Club sources post. He's a great account. You should give him a follow. A few years ago, Levy said this in an interview: "We were looking for a business growing at 10% per annum. We were looking for something that was also exciting. The excitement was purely the gamble to earn millions." And listen to this here. There is no passion here in football. This is purely financial. We chose football because it's the most popular sport on earth and the biggest money spinner. So does Levy actually care about where we are actually as a club, or does he only care about earning the money? I don't know. But I am still Enoch in, because I cannot say Enoch. I cannot say Levy out, because we need to wait until there's fans in the stadiums, in my opinion, because the amount of money we will generate from that, then we'll really see our capabilities in the transfer window. If he doesn't spend, if he doesn't spend the money the millions that we earn from the fans in the stadiums, then he needs to go, because I mean, if we'll have a huge transfer budget when the fans come back, so really that's crucial for the club.
Obviously,
I do believe that we've had a bit of a decline because of Corona. I mean, not a bit, quite a big decline financially because of Corona, and that's why we haven't really been able to spend too much.
I think
but hopefully,
obviously, the pandemic's had a negative effect on the club's finances, but we still managed to sign Reguilon, Højbjerg, Doherty.
That's the thing. But Reguilon was how much was he? 30 million?
20.
Yeah, 25, I think. 25.
Yeah, but no, but listen, so 25 million plus Doherty like 12 million.
I think it was 15.
Højbjerg 15. Okay, Højbjerg 15 million plus Walker Peters. Bale just wages. I mean, that's around 60 million altogether or something. Is it really that much? I don't know.
It was good business.
But that just shows
it's
a good business.
It was good. I agree. Levy is one of the best in that department.
But we need to do more.
It's gotten to the point of this club where we need to actually act like Man U or something and go for a gamble and sign someone big for like 100 million or something, you know, because that will create a big statement of the club that we are up there. We want to challenge.
That's one of the most interesting things. I mean, I saw today. I mean, Spurs has splashed big money in the past, and it's just totally not worked out. I mean, Roberto Soldado was our record signing, and he didn't turn out well. Davinson Sanchez was a record signing. You can argue whether or not he turned out well. You could say I guess he's been pretty mediocre. And then there's more that I'm totally blanking on. But Moussa Sissoko, 30 million.
His first season.
I know, but I'm not talking about the Sissokos, the Sanchez's, even the Ndombeles. I'm talking about someone that would be a huge statement. Someone like, you know, Dybala, Koulibaly. I mean, I know it's unrealistic, but we need someone like that. We need someone that would really just that we'd shape the team around with Kane and Son if they stay. You know,
If Kane leaves, I think we need to bring in Haaland. It's a big
oh,
signing.
oh my,
Obviously, he won't.
I agree with that.
I mean, yeah, I agree, but I mean, that would be amazing. But
Is it going to happen? No, because
you know, I know this is. I don't want to sound plastic or anything, but at this point, after the Dinamo game, after where I've realised where the club is currently at, I wouldn't even mind if Son or Kane got sold because I want them to win
Yeah.
trophies, and also I think it'd be good for the club in a way because
that's not
if
even
we
an
sell Kane
unpopular opinion.
for 150 or 180 million, I mean, because of Corona, it'll probably be like 120, 150, but with that money and the money that would come with the fans in the stadiums, we could build a whole new squad, sell the deadwood. You know, as
Going
much
back
as
to
the club, yeah.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. Sorry, this is kind of based off something we were talking a little bit ago, but the new stadium and then COVID coming basically back to back, that really set us back. I mean, because that 18 months where we went without signing a player, that was probably the beginning of the end. But Levy thought once the stadium is built, we get the revenue from the fans, he'll be able to invest. And I mean, he showed it that first summer. Dombele, Lo Celso, Sessegnon, Clark. I mean, only 4 signings. That's not a ton. And I mean, Clark and Sessegnon are more of signings for the future. But I mean, he spent big on Dombele and Lo Celso, 2 midfield signings, and that's what we needed. We needed midfield. And then a bit unlucky that Dombele got injured for the whole season. But I mean, I think that was his plan, was to build the stadium. We needed to not spend for a little bit so we could pay off the debt and then move forward. I mean, I think in my eyes, he had a checklist: training ground, stadium, manager, spend on players. I mean, he built the training ground, he built the new stadium, he brought in Pochettino. I mean, the trophy record is not good at all. But we weren't trophy winners beforehand either.
Yeah. What I wanted to mention, I've talked my dad about this recently. But what I was going to say before you talked about that, I was going to say basically, as much as the club seems to have gone down as a club, I still think that there's a lot of potential in this club. Definitely a lot. We still need to look positively into the future because the stadium, as you mentioned, when the fans come back, I think people really realize what they're up against. Because when the first season on the stadium, we had biggest profit of any club in world football. That says a lot, man. So years of that, that's a hell of a lot. We've become one of the richest, if not the rich. I don't know if it's even possible to become the richest club in world football because Barcelona and Real Madrid are supported by the Spanish government. But yeah, still, we'd be really up there. And also, what I wanted to say, so you were talking about, Levy. So basically, he's got a lot of hate, and I agree that some stuff he hasn't done wrong. It's his fault that Poch went. But at the same time, he does not get enough credit because I was talking about this with my dad. So he's been with the club for 20 years now, right? And before him, we had, was his name Sugar or something?
Lord Sugar.
What was his name? Yeah.
Lord Sugar.
So he was really bad. We won a few trophies with him, but he had no idea what he was doing. And then Levy brought some stability to the club. And we won a few trophies with the Sugar guy, but we weren't a Champions League club. We never finished top 4. And then, it's even though we only won 1 trophy under Levy, there's definitely been a big improvement with the club because, I mean, just think about it, the last 7 years, we've really implemented ourselves into the top 6 and top 4. And yes, these last 2 years have been a bit of a downgrade, but that just shows how far we've come because finishing in the Europa League spot twice and getting to a Carabao Cup final would be pretty normal or even pretty good for back in 10 years ago. But now, this is the thing.
We set our expectations high.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Spurs fans, I know that
there's a quote for this.
We don't want to.
Yeah, we set our expectations. Spurs set their sights so high that even in failure, there is an echo of glory. I think that's Danny Blanchflower.
Yeah. But what I wanted to say is, the thing is, we want to say that we're bigger than Arsenal, bigger than Chelsea, but the truth is we're not.
Oh
Not
boy.
yet. No, but we're not. We're
Yeah.
not. This is why.
We're
This is
definitely
what
not
I'm
bigger
saying.
than Chelsea.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking history trophy wise. We're currently, I'd still say, the better team than Arsenal. But I'm
Yeah.
talking.
Oh yeah.
We set our standards. We set our standards up that we're challenging Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. When in reality we're not quite there yet. We need a few seasons with the fans and spend some money, and then maybe we can challenge for the title.
Yeah.
Because this is why all these Spurs fans are unhappy. Oh, Jose needs to go. We're not winning anything. We were never winning anything before. We need to spend some time with the stadium, and we need a new, fresh manager because I don't really want to blame Jose, but the players do not trust him. We need to get rid of some of this deadwood, like Dyer and Davis, and I think Lloris. I mean, as much as I love Lloris, his interview, he literally exposed the club and Levy. He said like it reflects on what's going on at the club. I'm just not. That's a bit risky to say. I agree with him, but he doesn't look quite
It's like the
happy with the club right now. What?
It's a bit like the documentary in words. He's just talking what's going on behind the scenes, and I'm sure Mourinho doesn't really want that sort of thing going out.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I think tomorrow we will lose to Villa, and I think that wouldn't be that bad because if Jose gets sacked after that, the manager comes in. Maybe that will motivate the players to finish top four. You never know. New manager, like if somehow we got Nagelsmann, just think. Like he plays attacking football. I feel like it would motivate the players a bit more, as much as they've been.
If Mourinho gets sacked before the end of the season, we're not going to hire anyone. It'll be a temporary, probably Ryan Mason or Ledley King. I mean, Nagelsmann isn't going to leave Leipzig in the middle of a season when they're still in the Champions League. They're still pushing for the Bundesliga. So if we do sign him, it'll be over the summer. But anyway, we should wrap it up. So Mourinho in or out? Samuel, in or out, and what does it take? What would it take for us to sign him, or to keep him, or to sack him?
Well, I think I've always said in, and there's a reason because, I mean, I've got a post coming out soon. I've had to delay it a bit, but I was gonna say about how much I'm Mourinho in and how I think he is the man for the job because our trophy drought is far from embarrassing. Like you said, we've set our expectations higher. And that's obvious, but if we're going to set our expectations high, we need to start seeing an improvement.
So, what would it take for you to be Mourinho out?
For me to be Mourinho out, I'm still Mourinho in, even if we're in the relegation zone. But what I mean, well, maybe not, but at the end of the season, well, maybe not in the relegation zone, but come the end of the season, if we're, I'm not going to say anything until it's the end of the season. If we've had a shocker and we've just bottled everything and we've lost 5-0 every game, then maybe I'll change that to mid-season and sacking. But I personally think
putting a lot of backing on Mourinho.
I think, like I heard, I think it was Glenn Hoddle say, Chelsea. You look at what a big club they are now. They were also small at one point. Mourinho obviously came in. They weren't small when he came in, but he made them a much bigger team. He changed an era with them. And I personally think that he started with the League Cup, as you might be aware. That could be the start of something massive at this football club. And, when I say massive, you look at Chelsea, they've won the Champions League. I'm not saying that we'll win it next season. I'm not saying we'll qualify for the Champions League and suddenly we'll go into the final. But I personally think that we stand a chance of over the course of the next I'm going to say about 10 seasons, we stand a chance of creating a much bigger thing at this football club and not just a trophyless team or anti-trophy gang. You look at our FA Cup records, we've got a lot of FA Cups at this football club and, we have got trophies, it's just not recently. And Arsenal fans have educated other fans to think that. So I think Mourinho's the man because he's going to end our trophy drought as he does at every other club. So I'm still Mourinho in until the end of the season.
Alrighty. Charlie, Mourinho in or out?
As much as I like the guy, I like his personality, his tactics are. I mean, I know that he did last few games. He didn't intend to play defensive, but in the start of the season, he did. And I just feel like he's not the right manager for us. He's never really, as much as he's a champion, he's just he just doesn't really fit the club, if you ask me. And also, I mean, the players, as much as it would be perfect, as much as it would be perfect if we got to the summer, we finished top 4, then we have money to spend, sell all the deadwood, and buy a whole new squad that Jose would be perfect with, and they back him, and everything's perfect. But that will not happen. Let's be honest. We will finish like 8th or 9th probably, and he will get sacked. Because the players don't back him. They won't play for him. Tomorrow, it all depends on tomorrow. Kane put in some motivational words, but I mean, if Kane can motivate the other players to play, I don't know. But I, as much as I want him to stay, he will not, because it just won't work out. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't work.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching and listening. It's been another episode on the One Hotspur YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, listen to our podcast, and thank you. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Spurs.